Hey guys, hold on, just adjusting the camera a little bit. Okay. Hi, I'm Island Turtle. Welcome to BOMISpirit. This is going to be the weekly intuitive astrology reading. Excuse me, for June 24th to June 30th. Welcome. If you're new, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And this is live, by the way. Already starting with the energy. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I hope your guys' Monday has been off to a really good start. This week I'm tempted to wait for people to climb into the chat to get started, but I'm kind of eager to get started. Oh, Nettie, I haven't seen you in a very long time. Hello. We got JM, Ashley, Kelly, Marie. Hello. So the way this works, for those of you guys who are new, I'm going to go ahead and give you my 2 cents on how I am feeling, channeling, and or discerning the astrology that's at play. And we are also going to go ahead and do a collective reading as well. I used to do elements. I don't really feel called to do that anymore. It's a little energetically intensive, and there are some other changes that I am making in the very near future. And when I say very near future, I mean like probably the next couple weeks. So yeah, so just giving you guys a heads up from there. Oh, you're from LA? Hi, LA. My hometown. But this week we're in for a treat. And some of you may have already been feeling this energy, even like the last couple of days. Oh, happy early birthday. Especially in terms of like the shadow. I mean, I'm going to get really into it, but partnerships are really big this week. Being heart-centered is really important this week. It's just going to play a big role into how partnerships or relationships can unfold. Even certain opportunities may unfold depending on how much you're really coming from the heart and how people are meeting you at the heart. But like I said, the shadow's been kind of big too. And I've definitely been experiencing that. I've been seeing that in the collective. And when I looked at the astrology, I was like, duh. Thank you, Lilith. But literally, I was like, oh, duh. It's like been right there in front of my face. Lilith is definitely agitating, well, I shouldn't say agitating the shadow. It's bringing up some stuff. Like it's coming through as like anger or even like projecting stuff onto people, even escapism and addictions and things like that. So whether you're lashing out at people or you're dealing with your own vices or you're seeing other people go through that, excuse me, the shadow's definitely been coming out. I have so much stuff I don't want to talk about. Oh, Sam, I hope you're doing okay. I mean, it sounds like you're probably going through it, but I hope you're doing okay. You're always on my mind. Agreed, the vibes are weird. I keep meaning to do an Island Turtle Talk episode, and obviously I haven't done one, otherwise you guys would have seen it. But I know for myself, okay, and I think just speaking on Lilith, I think some of you may even need to just like, might resonate with this, with what I'm about to say. I need to make some space. I need to make some space in order for me to like just heed that call, so to speak. And some of you may be called to do that this week as well. Full moon might have brought that up for you guys. The summer solstice might have brought that up for you guys. But yeah, it's some interesting stuff. Okay. But that's just a little bit of an overview. Before I get carried away, let me do timestamps here because you guys know I can get carried away. All right. I usually do timestamp for overview and I just went for it. Astrology. Oh, excuse me. My asthma also has been not happy. Same with the Clydester. He's had some asthmatic stuff the last couple days. I'm trying to get him into the vet, but we'll see what happens. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and just dive in at 4 minutes. All right. So before I get into the astrology, couple things to note. For the entirety of the week, there are certain signs that are pretty prevalent, including like axis. When I say axis, I mean like Leo, Aquarius, Virgo, Pisces, Scorpio, Taurus, Aries, Libra, like the 1/7s, the opposites, the complements of each other that are pretty important at this time. So I'm going to give you guys signs and ranges. Take that for as what you will for those who study astrology or who pay attention to astrology. If you have any personal planets in these degree ranges in these signs, just know you may be really feeling the energy of it, like the intensity of it, more so than other people. And of course, this can also be where you can look at your own houses to see where some things may be playing out. But Virgo Pisces axis is lit this week. It's kind of dominating, even though we're not in Virgo or Pisces season, it is definitely dominating. And the degree range is so wide, I would say, honestly, look at the whole house of Virgo and the whole house of Pisces, wherever that may fall for you. And of course, for some, that might be in between two houses, depending on what system you use. But Virgo, Pisces, 10 to 20 degrees and 25 to 29. That's like essentially 2/3 of the house. That's a lot. A lot is happening there, and I will get into the details of that as we continue. But Cancer, 10 to 25 degrees. I know another big range, but there's a lot going on with Cancer since Mercury is moving really fast through Cancer this week, and Venus is also in Cancer this week. Taurus, 10 to 15 degrees, is playing a really interesting supportive role in terms of where Mars is in Taurus, and that is 10 to 15 degrees. And then the Leo Aquarius axis is going to be interesting, and I'm going to get into why it is. But 0 to 5 degrees, that is where Pluto and Vesta are playing off of each other. White Rabbit is also in Leo, but it's a little bit of later degrees. But Vesta and Pluto playing off of each other is very important at this time as well. So that Leo axis point, axis, not point, but an axis, may actually be very empowering at this time, you know? But just wanted to give you guys that little bit of information. Now, I do want to take special attention to June 29th. Hold on. Let me make a little spot for it. Where are we? 6/28. Okay. So let's talk about June 29th. So June 29th, I already knew was going to be an important day because Saturn is retrograding in Pisces on June 29th. And when Saturn retrogrades, like when any planet retrogrades, it takes an energy and it internalizes it. It also can slow it down in terms of like almost like the energy that comes off of that planet in our lives can kind of slow down, which is why sometimes we perceive challenges or obstacles. It's not really challenges or obstacles. It's just that aspect of our lives or how we function off of that planet or celestial body is moving just a little bit slower because we're meant to grow. We're meant to reevaluate things in terms of how we work off of that energy, right? But Saturn is malefic. And when a malefic planet goes retrograde, that internalizing of that energy can get kind of intense, especially because Saturn can also apply a lot of pressure. So almost think of like a pressure cooker and like you're kind of turning up the pressure basically. But in terms of Pisces, what does malefic mean? Like breaking down. So most celestial bodies are considered benefic, which means it's just supporting. It's just kind of there. It's pushing things along. Malefic planets like Saturn, Mars, Pluto, they tend to break things down. Like that's their whole point, is to apply pressure or transmute or change or shift or break or destroy. But we need those energies, right? We need those energies in our life. It's not a bad thing. It just is what it is. But that's how Saturn teaches us, is by applying pressure to rise to the occasion. That's how Saturn works. So Saturn is retrograding on June 29th, but also on June 29th, Lilith moves from Virgo to Libra. All my astrology I talk about is in tropic, by the way. Lilith will be in Libra for a while. I want to say not quite a year, probably until spring of next year, Lilith will be in Libra. So we're also going to feel that shift as well. Lilith has been in late degrees Virgo for a while, that 29-degree point, which to me is a critical point where it just really exacerbates the energy of that sign and that celestial body. And we've definitely been experiencing that, but it is shifting on June 29th as well. The other thing on June 29th that's kind of cool, Venus will be sextile Mars, Venus in Cancer, Mars in Taurus, but that sextile will be exact. So 3 really important things happening on June 29th. And even for myself, as I was journaling, so when I journal, I also journal in relation to my menstrual cycle. And so I was looking at that particular week of my menstrual cycle and I was like, what is happening that week? Because like all the stuff that was wanting to come through was just like twists of fate and you know, endings and beginnings and big events, not quite towers. It just felt like unexpected events is honestly what it felt like. And now looking at the astrology of that particular day, to me, it feels like gifts or opportunities might be presenting themselves. And when I say gifts and opportunities, some of you may perceive that as a challenge. It doesn't have to be. It does. Hold on a second. I was hearing a weird noise. It doesn't have to be, okay? but this is going to coincide with Saturn going retrograde. And so whatever comes in on that day for you, whether it's minor or whether it's really major, just know that it might be really prominent for you all the way up through November when Saturn does go stationary direct. It doesn't have to, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Okay. And now the role that the retrograde of Saturn is playing in this, with that internalized pressure, it is meant to assist us with being more disciplined in soul matters because it is in Pisces. So when I say soul matters, I mean like your mental health, your emotional health, your self-care, your faith, your own spiritual practices, even things that want to be expressed from the soul, like creativity or music, etc. And to be a little bit more disciplined when it comes to that. And also Saturn in Pisces is teaching us the power of detaching and letting go from things we've been very emotionally invested in that maybe don't really serve us anymore, because Saturn's getting us to evolve and to grow in those arenas, right? So the gifts opportunities that might come in on June 29th might ask you to rise to the occasion, which is why for some it may be a little challenging and others might be very exciting. So just dependent on where you are, who you are, and it doesn't have to happen on that day. That's just the day the energy is coming in. But it is definitely an interesting highlight of this week. Okay. Now moving on, let's talk about Mercury. So this little section, I just labeled it heart-centered is where it's at. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me do another section for this one. 1140. Okay. Yeah, heart-centered is where it's at. So like I said, Mercury's moving really fast through Cancer. So the energy that's coming in with Mercury as it's transiting this week is, it's like that. It's very fast moving, it's very transitionary, but going from the beginning of the week, we have heart-centered communication that's really supporting the right partnerships. And what I mean by that is, if we are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable enough to really come from the heart and people can meet us there, it's going to be easier to not just be authentic, but also be able to discern, right, who we really want to invest in, who we really should be communicating with, and who really wants to rise to the occasion with us and who doesn't. Because we do have a lot of shadow aggravation going on. Almost said shadow aggravation going on. If people are just really in their shadows and really aggravated and they're not dealing with their shit, they can't meet you in the heart. They can't. And if they can't meet you in the heart, are they rising to the occasion in the way that you are if you are doing the work, right? So that's what I mean by that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. And then a readiness to be dedicated is also coming through this week in terms of Mercury. And again, all of this is at the beginning of the week. Now, those aspects, for those of you guys who want to know, I know not all of you do, but some of you do. So in the beginning of the week, Mercury in Cancer is opposing Ceres in Capricorn, sextile Juno in Virgo, sextile Orcus in Virgo, and is also trine Saturn as well. Wow, you're discovering my relationship right now. Oh, yeah, partnerships are going to be interesting this week, and I'm actually going to get into it really soon as far as like old partnerships versus new partnerships and how things could be shifting in those two buckets, okay? But that Mercury trine Saturn, that is a readiness to be dedicated, not just to people that you are meeting at the heart, but also what you really feel soul led to as well. It's that like Pisces Cancer meeting up between Mercury and Saturn, right? So if you're ready to rise to the occasion, you're ready to rise to the occasion. And if you're not, you're not. And that's okay too. No judgment if you're not. If you're triggered as hell and you are pointing the finger at other people and you're just like not looking at yourself, I'm not going to judge you for that because we've all been there. It's okay if you're not ready. And if you are, this is a cool window to utilize. Now, as Mercury continues to move through Cancer, Mercury starts to aspect Uranus in a sextile, becomes trine with Neptune, and also goes square with Chiron and Eris in Aries. That's also going to bring up some triggered energy. But the sextile with Uranus and the trine to Neptune, there were a few things that were coming through there because I can feel a lot of communication trying to happen with people at this time. So this could lead to confessions, this could lead to revelations, this could also lead to groundbreaking ideas especially if any of you are really drawn to anything creative or anything in the spiritual arts, just because Neptune and Pisces are playing such a huge role in a lot of this energy. You may actually get a little bit more clarity on your own calling and what you really feel called to do and who you want to do that with. But also keep in mind, communication can get a little bit more raw towards the end of the week, which doesn't have to be bad because we have so much supportive heart-centered energy. This very raw communication can be very vulnerable, right? And can lead to opening doors with people. So if you're meeting heart to heart with people, that might open a lot more opportunities than normal, especially if someone's not meeting you at the heart. It almost feels a little bit like a wall to me. Like if someone's coming from the heart and other people are not, the doors can't open. Opportunities can't unfold. The ideas between people to cultivate things can't unfold. But if it's heart to heart, it's just doors opening all over the place, right? So again, if you are struggling with your shit, lots of reasons to really address them this week. I'm not like trying to instill a FOMO thing here. I'm just encouraging you that it could lead to some really interesting things that you might not be aware of yet. But Mercury also being square Chiron with Eris. So Chiron and Aries, Eris and Aries. Obviously, a lot of us know already that Chiron is relating to wounds and insecurities, but in Aries, it's been in forms of the identity, right? Of the self and how we show up and how we self-assert ourselves and how where our self-worth is, right? So as we are trying to meet people from the heart, there can be a lot of triggering that happens, a lot of insecurity that happens, hence people, right, not being able to stay in the heart or getting in their shadows or acting out of their deep wounds and lashing out. And Lilith plays a big role in this, but this also will exacerbate that. So it all depends on where you're at and where people are at around you too, right? But for everything I just spoke on, where this could be affecting you, that Pisces Virgo axis that I mentioned before, but 15 to 20 degrees, that is going to be more of a, excuse me, how do I want to say this? It's not aggravated, but it kind of is. Like where we have Pisces and Virgo in our houses, we might see some agitation. We might perceive some challenges there. And it's just meant to show us where we need to let go or who we need to let go of. And it'll also help us to push us to do any work we need to do on that stuff that's coming out and making us lash out at people. And then of course, Cancer. 15 to 20 degrees, because that is primarily where Mercury is moving through. It does move up to mid degrees, like mid 20 degrees, like 25 degrees, but 15 to 20 is kind of that like sweet spot where Mercury is transiting. Okay. I just feel a big, strong desire there. Honestly, I just feel like almost like a propellant force from within to go and connect and to go and speak and to go and take action and to go discover. Discover seems to be a big word there. But yes. Yes. All right, moving on. Craving physically being in the sun. It's interesting you say that. I had a lot of crown and third eye energy come up today, like almost put me out. I actually had to lay down for like a couple hours, which happens sometimes when I get activated or when I'm expanding. And I stepped outside and I felt the sun on my skin and I was just like, and I just like had the sun just hit my crown and it just instantly made me feel better. Oh, excuse me. Very nasally. I totally need to get my shit together. Same. All right. Partnership, gifts, and lessons. This is the next cluster. There's a lot going on in this next cluster. So a lot of you know when the aspects get really complicated, I try not to bombard your brains too much because it's kind of like math. And I've just come to realize that like not everybody is mathematical. And sometimes when you like throw numbers or symbols or mathematical like things at people, sometimes their brains just kind of shut down. So I don't want to overwhelm you with all of that information. But I will say the important takeaways for this next one: Venus in Cancer, sextile Mars in Taurus. This is also that aspect that's going to peak on June 29th when Saturn goes retrograde. So that is one that you definitely want to watch. Also, why you really want to watch your house of Cancer and Taurus very closely. Okay. Mars and Taurus will also be trine Juno and Orcus, both in Virgo. Excuse me. Oh, hold on a second. Something wants to come through there. I was just, and I looked out the window and I just saw lightning. I was like, oh shit. It's monsoon season, so we get like daily storms right now. But yeah, I just saw lightning as this like also hit me, and I almost wanted to speak on it. So Juno and Orcus, let's talk about this for a minute. So they're both in Virgo, really close to each other, so they're conjunct. And normally with these celestial bodies that are like asteroids and dwarf planets, like if you're not like if you, for any of you who use astrology software or want to, like they're not going to give you those as a default. You kind of have to like change your settings, and even then they won't always show you if they're conjunct or not. It's just something you kind of got to know or know how to look for. But Juno and Orcus working together. Oh, you miss monsoons? It's an interesting vibe. I'm not gonna lie, it's an interesting vibe, and sometimes I definitely prefer it over just blazing sun. But yesterday, I had water literally come through my front door, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't so fun." I was really like, "Yeah, I don't love that. Don't love that." But yeah, monsoons can be cool. When I first moved out here, like 4 years ago, you could like time it. You could time it by like the hour, like every single day when that was going to be happening. And so I would try to like schedule my days around it so I wouldn't get stuck in storm in the afternoon. But interesting. Anyway, getting off track. Juno and Orcus. It's interesting for those two to be conjunct because they both have this flavor of vengeance. Juno mostly rules partnership and marriage, but also protection of women. And Juno gets really aggravated in terms of like if there is neglect or abuse or lashing out going on. Juno tends to have this reaction of, I'm going to go in and take care of business, or I'm going to go and like do something about this. Protect. Juno wants protection, right? Juno is the wife of Jupiter. Just felt the need to mention that. But Orcus is kind of similar. Orcus is very Plutonian and kind of Scorpio. It rules vengeance actually and punishment. Wrongdoings, if you will. But Orcus is also about knowledge seeking, healing modalities. Orcus is very interesting, but the primary energy behind Orcus is to punish the wrong. So we have a little bit of justice energy coming through the partnership aspect of all of this stuff. I am getting that feeling of not settling, which I think is a really nice energy actually. Not settling, some really strong boundary setting there as well. There's something else there though too. Let me sit with that for a second. It feels very feminine to me with what I'm feeling, especially being in Virgo, because Virgo is about integrity and accountability and doing things the right way, right? Doing things the right way. Again, equating and supporting this energy of the right kind of partnership and partners. Something just feels like a justice energy behind that, with Juno and Orcus working together in terms of partnership. Maybe getting partnerships that we have earned. That feels very right. It might come up again as we continue and just pull cards, but I can feel it. There's something very feminine there. I'm almost getting this visual of like a woman going and unlocking a cage, you know? Yeah, and unlocking a cage. Um, hmm, whose cage? Right? I think that's the important question. Who's in the cage? Who's in the cage? What's in the cage? Hmm. So that's just a little channeling coming through there. But like I said, I think it's going to come up later. But Mars is aspecting Juno and Orcus here. Mars in Taurus. Mars in Taurus is doing a lot this week. And Mars in Taurus is all about acting from a place of wanting to cultivate, acting from a place of wanting to start to build new things or put down the nest egg, if you will, or not build, interesting, put down the nest egg. I don't know why I said it that way. Build up the nest egg. That's what Taurus likes to do. But Mars and Taurus can also be a little possessive too. But it's from a place of wanting to hold down the safety safe of what is special and what is coveted, right? It's just such an interesting energy. It feels like rising to the occasion to do the right thing, to start planting the seeds, to put things in the right place. Like I know how that sounds, but it's like that's how it wants to come through. Doing the right thing to put the right things in place, the right people in place, the right moves in place, the right seeds in place, getting things truly in order. But it feels like it's in terms of relationship. Very interesting. Anyway, I don't want to get stuck in there. I can feel I was getting stuck in that little rabbit hole of a channeling. Moving on. Saturn is also trine Pallas Athena still in Scorpio and opposing Juno as well in Virgo. So again, all this like Virgo, Juno energy, again, partnership vibration is very, very strong in the energy this week. And then there's also aspects with Venus, Saturn, and Mars that are shifting throughout the week that I haven't even mentioned yet. So this is what I'm saying when I say sometimes the aspects can get a little complicated. But just wanted to give you all the aspects. But how I was perceiving this, there's going to be a much more ease. There's going to be a good ease and attraction component when it comes to dating and romance this week. So 333, by the way. So if you are meeting anybody this week and it just you're vibing, I would enjoy it. Honestly, I would enjoy it. And if you guys are meeting heart to heart, that's probably going to open some opportunities and some interesting doorways, especially in terms of June 29th and Saturn going retrograde and like literally the next few months up leading up into November that could be very rewarding for you and for the other person as well. Excuse me. This doesn't have to just be romance, of course, because this is a lot of just relationship, partnership energy, and there are all kinds of partnerships, like business partnerships, besties, family dynamics, especially with Cancer at play as well. So don't get stuck on it needing to be around dating and romance. It's just going to make dating and romance a hell of a lot easier at this time, especially if you like struggle with attracting people in or flirting with people. A natural attraction is going to be at play. Okay. What else? I mentioned the cultivating through heart-centered connections. I mentioned Saturn. New and old relationships. Okay, so the way that Saturn is playing off of Juno in this opposition, and then it's also trine Pallas Athena in Scorpio, it's creating something interesting, and this just came through as like a channeling when I was going over my notes. Old and new partnerships. Old partnerships, particularly those where there's been persistent issues, like the same persistent issues, they're probably not going to go away. Okay, these issues might intensify actually this week to show you like foundationally where the cracks are, where they haven't really healed stuff or you haven't really healed stuff, or maybe how you or them or both of you are not coming from a heart-centered place. Something wants to be broken down there and shifted there. But again, this is more speaking to people who are in partnerships with persistent issues that have been the same issues over and over and over, especially if they've been intensifying. Under this energy, it's meant to show you the foundational cracks within you, within them, within the connection, or, you know, both of you, etc. So just know that that's a big possibility. Now, new partnerships, because especially with the sextile between Venus and Mars, there could be a really high probability of meeting people this week where true partnership can take place, again, if there is that heart-centered connection going on and coming from heart-centered communication as well. I really love this for those who may be experiencing this because it's just going to open doors. I just keep getting that. Like, I just keep seeing doors opening and like flying open. But keep in mind, it's all about how you rise to that occasion and rise to those opportunities. Some of you could get triggered. And then it's that challenge of, are you going to stay heart-centered? Are you going to keep shit real? Are you going to look at why you're getting triggered? So just keep that in mind with the new partnerships that are coming in. But again, it can be very, very rewarding. All right. So as far as how the ebb and flow of like the fast transition aspects that I haven't talked about with this section are flowing, I mean, it's not really groundbreaking ground what I already just told you, but from the beginning of the week, we have, more of this friction. That's right. Yeah, because Venus is going to be square the North Node at the beginning of the week. There is some friction in the beginning of the week when it comes to connections. It's weird. It's like feeling pulled to connect and then really not wanting to. Like I want to connect, but kind of resistance. And that might be rooted in power struggles. I just know there's stuff going on with Pluto that is amplifying that too. But yeah, power struggles, especially if you haven't dealt with your shit. So just know that like recoil is more in the beginning of the week, but then as we progress, and whether you get into your heart or not, the heart-centered conversations, communications, decision making will pay off. And there will be other opportunities born of people who can do that and get to that space. And actually, quite a bit of satisfaction as well with meeting people at that level. Like when you see someone rising to the occasion to meet you because you're putting in the same amount of effort, it creates a sense of fulfillment because you know you have a true teammate, right? Whether it's a friend or a lover or a family member. But this is by the end of the week for people who are doing the work, you're going to really see who your true teammates are and who are not. Okay? Especially if you're doing the work. Now, as far as where this could be affecting you in your houses, again, Pisces, Virgo, coming up a lot. Don't ignore those houses. Shit's going down in those houses. And it's, like I said, it does feel more like aggravated kind of energy for the most part, but definitely a lot coming up around the perception of partnership. Oh, some of you may also, especially if like new partnerships come in, some of you may also realize that the people that you have thought you should be in partnership with or how you should do partnership is actually not suited to you at all. And you may come to realize that. Okay? Feeling called to my heart, especially when it comes to relationships. Yes, good. I wonder if you got any Cancer in your chart. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. Coming back to the signs. Now, of course, Cancer as well, 10 to 15 degrees. This is going to be pertaining to Venus. So just know that also some stuff in terms of relationships may be going on in that house for you. And then Taurus is supportive. Taurus, 10 to 15 degrees. That's where Mars is. That's where we may feel inclined to actually do something and like take action and like meet people in certain ways. I just heard problem solving. I think I got that last week too with Taurus. But let's move on. The shadow. This is all about Lilith and Pluto. I needed a sip before talking about this. All right, let's talk about the shadow. Shadow ain't bad. Shadow's not bad. I don't even want to call this shadow, to be honest, because what I've been feeling is coming out of people is like distortions and definitely acting out of wounds, but even like maybe people's inner demons and shit. Like some of you may be dealing with people and you might be like, do I know you? Have I known you? I don't know this version of you. I don't know what just crawled out of your mouth. Like, you might have some moments like that with people this week. Lord, honestly, I have. Just speaking honestly. Yeah. So just know that. So let's get into the aspects. Neptune in Pisces at 29 degrees is sextile Pluto retrograding in Aquarius at 1 degree. Shadow teaches where you need to heal, been working hard. Yeah, absolutely. So for those who are really new to this concept of the shadow, I didn't even want to say spiritual community. I feel like I need a whole turtle talk episode on that too. Sorry, so many trains just left the building in my brain. Let me come back. For those who are not familiar with the term shadow is just the part of ourselves that we are still discovering, and also the part of ourselves that come out to destroy, to take action, to protect on behalf of us. That's not a bad thing. The shadow is not a bad thing. It just is what it is. So when we say like doing shadow work, that's like delving into the self, into the depths of where you do not really traverse within yourself, into your own psyche, subconscious, your soul, whatever word you want to use for it, and pull things out to bring to the light. Whether those are your own emotions, long gone memories, soul retrieval, your own sense of power, or even like undiscovered gifts or skills, right? That's even shadow work. We also do shadow work when we do need to do some healing that we are very well aware of, but it is about really going in there and facing that and moving through that and not fighting that process. Sometimes it requires a lot of feeling and letting the emotions actually be experienced and moved through instead of projecting out onto the world, right? You actually deal with it within yourself. Could be facing fears. These are just examples and various ways we do shadow work, right? But the shadow also holds the part of us where there are times when we do need to stand up for ourselves, and there are times when we do need to protect ourselves. There's also times where we do need to destroy, and destroy in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's not. It's like when you need to let go of, I don't know, let's say you need to leave your job. You kind of need to get in your shadow side sometimes to do that, right? To either muster up the courage to do it, or maybe you want to leave because you're being abused and it's time to put a stop to the abuse. Like that's when you come out of your shadow to deal with stuff, right? You can't always, I'm not going to say you can't, but there is a way to get into that space of, I need to dismantle this, to change this, to destroy this, to create other things, where there is a loving energy there, but it's not fluffy. It's like, it's not this like love and light distortion that I'm speaking of. I think you guys understand what I'm saying, where there is integrity and grace in even being in your shadow, right? But sometimes it takes a while to learn how to do that authentically, right? Because a lot of times when we have unhealed stuff and we get in our shadow, all that unhealed shit is in our shadow, And if it's unhealed, then there's probably distortions there, and then we act out from a place of pain, from a place of fear, not from a place of just truth and just authenticity of, this is not okay with me and I need to do something about it, right? I feel like I just did a whole little TED talk on shadow, but that's basically the shadow. So moving along, Neptune sextile Pluto. This is the main aspect that we've been in for a long time. It's going to continue to be there for quite a bit. It's really just helping us to see the bigger picture of things and to make necessary changes where need be, okay? Now, Lilith. So like I said, Lilith is moving into Libra this week. Oh, she said fluffy. I do like that word. I'm not gonna lie. I like that word. Lilith is moving into Libra this week, but it's only going from 29 degrees Virgo to 0 degrees Libra. Lilith is opposing Neptune and is trine Pluto. So it's kind of interesting because the opposition between Neptune and Lilith, that is definitely aggravating our little inner monsters, our little inner demons. You could say the shadow. I feel like it's deeper than the shadow. I feel like it goes beyond the shadow. I feel like it's specifically the unhealed animalistic parts of ourselves or distorted parts of ourselves, or literally our inner demons, wanting to come to the surface because of the friction between Lilith and Neptune and Pisces and Virgo. I was getting almost like and kind of what I was getting before with Mercury when I talked about that section, like a conflict between wanting to be connected with people and engaged, and then wanting to be solo and independent. And since Pluto is also trine Lilith, there is a component of power. To be honest with you, Lilith likes power, Pluto likes power. Neptune doesn't give a shit about power, right? But there is that distortion too. So if anyone you're dealing with, or yourself included, has a distortion of power and control and ambition and being number one, that's going to come out if it's rooted in unhealthy things, or if it's rooted in pain or unhealed wounds, etc., right? But this can also aggravate addictions and vices and escapism as well, because of the Neptune component against Lilith, because Lilith is also our deepest desires. In opposition with Neptune, that can definitely bring out those parts of ourselves. So as we're like moseying about our weeks, right, and we start to talk to people, this is just an example, and let's say you're coming from the heart, that heart-centered energy can trigger someone's unhealed stuff. It might make them feel too vulnerable or unsafe, or they might feel challenged in some way, or they may even feel 144 likes. By the way, hit the like button if you're enjoying this and you're here, because we got almost 400 people, just saying. But coming back, it might trigger that aspect in another person because they're being confronted with just truth. They're being confronted with authenticity, with love even, and they may feel challenged in some way because of their own shit. Challenged to choose them or others, and that might put them in survival mode. Animal mode is almost what I want to call it. Or it might make them just get triggered in whatever their unhealed shit is. There's so many ways we can be unhealed, but just know that it can come out that way, from like anger, resentment, trying to control, trying to power struggle shit, maybe even trying to be very dominant, or even the total opposite. Maybe they might want to run away and like isolate and get deep into their own addictions or their vices, or numb out, or you might even experience this as well. Sexual distortion is going to be part of this too, just because Lilith is also about sexual energy, and Neptune and Pluto both can bring out the energy of sexuality as well. So just know that that's there. But I know it sounds all crazy and kind of bad, but it's not. Oh man, I had to pause it and now I'm behind. Oh, just catch up. Just go like But the saving grace about Pluto, though, because Pluto is trine Lilith, while that can bring out the power component, it also can help you just deal with it. Pluto wants people to heal. Pluto may be malefic. Pluto may take you down to the underworld, but that's a gift. That is the gift of Pluto. Pluto goes, okay, let's go down there. Let's get down in there and let's pull out what we need to pull out. Let's look at whatever is lurking down there that you don't want to look at and let's deal with it, right? So just know that where you have Pluto, which is Aquarius 1 degree, but if you look at Aquarius 0 to 5 degrees, that's like the axis I was talking about with Leo and Aquarius. That can help you with this. So if you're struggling with your inner animal, demons, monsters, whatever, wreaking havoc or making your relationships a little difficult or making your life a little difficult right now or putting you in fear or scarcity or stress or whatever, just know that if you lean into the house that where you have Aquarius 0 to 5 degrees, that could be a big help to you at this time to really go down in there. Now, as an example, if you have Aquarius 0 to 5 degrees in your fourth house, that could mean actually going to like literal family members and just talking to them or spending time with them, or maybe going to your hometown for a weekend, or maybe even spending more time in your home to actually get deep within yourself to do your thing, you know, or even spending time in whatever way makes you feel emotionally stable. But Aquarius is also very creative, so creative outlets are going to be good for this too. Or if you have Aquarius 0 to 5 degrees in your ninth house, traveling and going somewhere might be very supportive for you at this time. Or maybe you're already aware of some of your own stuff and it's time to research that. It's time to go and look, maybe read up on a little bit of mental health or read up on trauma or whatever it is. And that might be a big assist to you at this time. If it's in like the sixth house, for example, maybe taking some time to garden or being out in nature might really help you, or just taking time every single day spaced out for yourself is going to support you at this time. So you understand what I'm saying? These are just examples. I want to move on now. I just felt the need to really talk a lot about that. Now, Vesta. So Vesta's kind of a nice little surprise energy here too. So Vesta's in Leo 2 to 4 degrees this week, is trine Neptune, and is also opposing Pluto. So when I do these aspects, I do kind of write them mathematically. I realized this today as I was going. I was like, God, if someone just stumbled upon my astrology notes, I think they'd have a hard time following it, because I do. I make it very mathematical. Like, I'm going to show you guys right here. So like this is the section I'm going over right now. So it's like I have Neptune sextile Pluto, and then I have like the opposition. I got the trine here, and I got the opposition there, and I got the trine there. So it's just, I don't know, just interesting stuff. But anyway, very chatty today. So the component of Vesta in all of this, Vesta is our sacred flame. It helps us to discern and follow our callings. What is sacred to us, what we want to keep sacred, what lights up our flame, what lights us up every day, what gives us a reason to live, essentially. And the role that Vesta is playing in this is actually giving us support in these different callings, whatever that may be for you. Now, keep in mind, Leo and Aquarius, right, are opposites of each other. So again, that axis, Pluto and Vesta playing off of each other like that, that axis is a power axis this week and is very supportive this week. So wherever you have Leo, Aquarius, 0 to 5 degrees, I would pay attention to those houses. I would spend time in those houses, supporting those houses, and see what comes of that, because it is going to help more for the long-term stuff, okay? And balance. Hold on, what is this about balance? Balancing power and purpose. Balancing power and purpose. I feel like I talked about this already. When you channel, sometimes you forget the stuff you've already talked about, but yeah, balancing power and purpose. Prioritizing purpose will give you power in the long term. There's a distortion and program around power that's trying to get dismantled right now. I can feel it in the collective, and so some of you guys are experiencing it. Some of you guys don't need to be going through that because maybe you've already dealt with this. But like, power is not power. Like, that's not power. Power is not control. It's not dominance. It's not aggression. It's not tyranny. It's not I'm number one. It's not I have it all. That is not power. That's not power. I don't know what to call that, but it's not power. Power is something you give yourself from within. It's an unspoken thing. It's not anything you have to seize. It's not anything you have to grab and take. It's not anything you even have to claim. It's something that just comes as you traverse your path and get to know yourself, and you can actually stand in integrity within yourself. Like, that is power, right? And so if you really focus more on purpose, and for some of you, that will translate to being of service to others in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through creativity or actual or physical labor or emotional support, whatever way that is, practical support, that will lead to opportunities that will help you to feel more empowered. Again, the whole power thing right now feels like a distortion that's really getting the ego very inflamed and also aggravating our inner monster, animal, creature things, you know? So just wanted to really emphasize that. Okay? Okay. Well, that is it for the astrology. 45 minutes in. Words. Sorry, so many things just came to my awareness. Because there are some shifts, like I said, I'm wanting to make, and I want to take a lot of space this week to really implement them and just get her done, get it set up, if you will. And I do really enjoy astrology. I do really enjoy just sharing information and just sharing. Just like I do, just sharing. I just enjoy it a lot, and I just want to prioritize that. And I love doing readings, as you guys know, but there's other important things that are going to be much more supportive for the collective moving forward that are not readings specifically. But yeah, just had to say that. There's a lot I got to say today, apparently. Thank you so much for all of that. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And please hit the like button. I can see it. We're a little more than halfway, but it'd be really cool. Just saying. And don't hesitate to share this video either. If you guys are like really truly enjoying it, like, don't hesitate to share it. I do like this more educational way of being. I do. It's very fulfilling for me. So I just want to prioritize that right now. But we're going to move into collective messages. We're going to move into collective messages. I'm just taking a minute to feel out the decks. What decks want to come through? They're showing me a maple leaf. When they show me things, sometimes I'm just like, They're showing me a maple leaf, but it feels like fall because it's like orangey, like it's changed color. I think maple leaves change color. I think this is a maple leaf. It's like a orangey, and like now it's showing me like a yellow one. Are we gonna talk about fall? Oh, that feels so far away. That feels like lifetimes away, doesn't it? I don't know why I just got overwhelmed. I just got overwhelmed with that. Okay, they're like, stop looking for decks. Okay. All right, all right. Hold on, let me do a timestamp here because I can feel channelings are trying to come through. Yeah, I feel like they're really wanting to bring up fall and fall energy. And I guess I did kind of start out talking about that in terms of like Saturn, right? God, but we're in summer. We just started summer. Talking about fall just feels so far. It feels so far away. So, okay. When I first went over the astrology almost a year ago for this year, I remember very distinctly that summer was going to feel a little crunchy and that September was going to feel like a breath, like like almost like a moment of settling, a moment of relief, a moment of, oh good, like the load is unloaded, or the energy has calmed, or it's just like summer feels a little bit like like a little anxious, a little bit of like building up energy. It just feels really busy. It feels really busy, but then September just feels like this really nice, like, just breath of settling. But if I try to tune into October, November, to be honest, it feels non-existent, which tells me that it's really more about September they want me to tune into, which feels like the fall equinox, actually. Yeah, just click in the kitchen. So it's not so much about fall, It's more so about fall equinox. We've already started summer. Fall equinox will mark the end of summer and the beginning of fall. So maybe just really emphasizing too, like this summer, a lot can happen, a lot can change. Yeah, okay, thank you. They're like, yes, that's really more what it's about. Thank you. This summer, a lot can happen and a lot can change. And when we hit September, there is going to be another shift too as Pluto goes into Capricorn for the last time for the next couple hundred years or whatever. I forget the exact number orbit for Pluto, but it's like 200 and maybe 30 something, 40 something years. Some of you may experience summer as a year. So time stuff, because I was getting like this swirly energy around summer. So much may happen for some of us this summer that it might feel like a year. Only to hit September to like almost come out of it with relief. I know that sounds like that summer's gonna be really hard. I don't want to say it's gonna be hard because I think that's just a free will choice, right? I just feel like big changes are afoot. Yeah, it feels like diving into a pool and taking a breath to come out in September to get air again is what it feels like. Some of you may be aware that you're diving in. Hold on. I feel like I need to do automatic writing with this. Hold on. Luge? Okay, I don't even know what luge is. What's luge? What's luge? Is that like a sport? I don't know why I feel like I'm getting like big Canadian vibes, like maple leaf. I'm like, I don't know what luge is, but it feels, I don't know, it feels Canadian or something to me. It feels like associated with like snow and mountains. I don't know, it's very weird. I don't know. Maybe Canada just wants to be mentioned for some reason. August. July is the dive. Thank you. July is the dive, August is the high. July is the dive, August is the high. That's why the rest is September. Interesting. So this is what just came through for that. Almost like as like a symbol of energy. Like this would be July, the dive in, and then August, and then September almost feels like a stopping point. Yeah. Choices, there's a lot of choices on the table right now. So we keep going, this is something else that's been happening this year. We keep going through these windows of a lot of choices. And every time we move through a window of choice, some people fall away, some new people come in. And then we go a month or two or whatever, we hit another wave of time to make some choices, almost like cementing the divergence of timelines. And I feel like that's what this is saying too about September. Thank you, rejoining. Some of you are diverging right now from certain paths, certain people. There may be a recovery rejoining in September. Oh, this has to do with Mercury retrograde too. Okay. So this is also how things come to me when I'm like doing my notes for astrology. It's like they give me downloads and then I see like the astrology in my head. So Mercury retrograde, the pre-shadow starts in July. I want to say July 15th, which would be here. We start to move into that energy, but it doesn't actually retrograde until August when we're climbing up the hill. And then it goes direct September 1st, the same day that Pluto moves into Capricorn. There's something about that feels like, yeah, a rejoining of sorts. So we are diverging right now from certain paths and certain people, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It just is based on free will choices. But yes, you may rejoin certain people at the end of it come September. Okay. It was a long-winded way to get to that message. Yeah. That's why the intensity of August is going to feel so intense, because we're going to have Mercury retrograding from Virgo to Leo. Excuse me. We're also going to have August 19th, full moon Aquarius, where Jupiter will also go exact square Saturn. That's going to be kind of restrictive. Yeah, that's how it almost feels. Like July, there might be a temptation to get very lax, actually, as we're diving in. There might be a temptation to enjoy a lot, which isn't bad. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We just maybe feel inclined to do that. And something about August raises the temperature, so to speak, symbolically, almost like lighting a fire under us. But Mercury will be retrograding at that time. Some of us may feel like a fire is lit under us, but may struggle with actually meeting those demands. That also feels like it's coinciding with Saturn retrograde as well. But come September, things will be clear and almost like something just comes to a complete halt in September. Do you hear that? It's confirmation for sure. Anyway, I want to move out of this channeling and I want to get into pulling cards. Okay. It just wanted to be said, so we said it. Okay. All right, let's get into the collective read. Oh, can I proceed? They're like, yes, you can. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I actually, ooh, you know what? I do. Was that the storm? Yeah, it was already starting, but the thunder just started as I said what I said. So it's probably gonna get kicked up really. It's probably gonna get really kicked up as we progress in the reading. But let's go herbal astrology. Any messages or insights for this week? June 24th to the 30th for the collective. Grounding is going to be really important. Grounding is always important, but especially as things may potentially become divergent. We also just have a lot of like Jupiter Gemini is like still at play and everything. Mars will be in Gemini in August. Woot. oh my Mars return coming back. Grounded is just a good thing. I was actually seeing socks. It's like socks. Be aware of how much you're truly grounding with your feet, like your physical feet, and how much you are not. This is interesting. It's also really, okay, I gotta stop for a second. It's gonna be really important too to keep your floors clean, okay? For those who walk around barefoot a lot, like I know there's like a new trend of like people just walk around barefoot outside. That's cool if that's how you do. But just know that like even in your house, like if you don't clean your house and you're walking around barefoot, you're constantly connecting and reconnecting with old energy, which is why it's important to clean the floors. Also important to keep your feet clean too. You'd be surprised when people don't wash their feet. I'm just saying. I'm not like a high maintenance kind of a person, but I'm just saying. Wash your feet. just had to say it. Okay. I love walking around barefoot. Yes. Any messages or insights for the collective, June 24th to the 30th? June 24th to the 30th. I knew this card was going to come out. I should have just called it. Cat's Claw with Purification. Mars and Pluto. Malefic energy. I saw this card in my mind's eye and I'm like, maybe that will, maybe that won't. And of course, it's the first card out with Purification. This feels like the shadow work. It does, especially with Mars and Pluto being right there. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like, especially, is that a panther? Yeah, it's a panther. Jaguar? Panther. Almost like to be the Black Panther here and actually be able to traverse your own shadow, traverse your own darkness, your own distortion, and extract the shit that don't need to be there, right? Deal with the shit that don't need to be there. But that's very Mars Pluto. Mars Pluto is a very focused, tactile, I'm gonna go in and snatch and grab and release. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna navigate, I'm going to grab a hold of this and I'm going to eat it and devour it and transmute it. Like that's very Mars Pluto, which is very Scorpio too. I'm walking barefoot right now in the backyard. Thank you though about the indoor things. I don't think about that. I just told my person to look up the herb cat's claw with the yeah. Actually, there's a little tangent. So we have like farmers markets out here from time to time, like most places do. But there's a guy that does honey, and he's like has all these honey farms all over the area. He's been doing it for decades. And I bought a couple honeys from him, and one of the honeys is also made with cat's claw, which I was like, oh, that's cool. But just had to share. All right. Anything else for the collective at this time? I'm hearing precision of the cat. Precision of the cat. That feels very like stalking the prey. I'm being observant. Some of you may be tempted to do this with others. I'm not going to say don't, but I'm just bringing it to your awareness that some of you may want to do that, to be the cat that stalks the prey and observes people in their distortion, like observing the distortion in others and want to do something about it. Again, I'm not going to say don't. It almost just feels like there's a stronger, sharper instinct, skill, discernment, sight, whatever word you want to use, where you can really see that and like pinpoint it in another person, whether you do anything about it or not. My cat just passed away. Oh, Alicia, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know my cat hasn't been well for a while, and like, oh, he's so cute sleeping over there. And I know it's hard. It's really hard. I'm really sorry though. Any other messages or insights for the collective? June 24th to the 30th. They're showing me, I don't even know what kind of flowers these are. They're white, but like blooming white flowers. I feel like this is going to be for those who may be encountering new people this week, specifically those you can be in partnership with, romantic or non-romantic. There's something about that. I keep getting the precision of the cat. Even in that, almost like being approached by someone and it's like not side-eyeing them, but like discerning, like really looking at them, really like scanning them, almost like a cat does. Interesting. Poppy with dream. This is totally giving me the traversing the subconscious, the underworld, the void to go and transmute and snatch and etc. Poppy is actually more in line with like the devil card actually. It has Neptune and Saturn associations with it. And I did see a white flower opening, and there is a white flower there too. But while this says dream, just to give a little description more on like Poppy, oh, sorry, I didn't realize the card had a little nick in it. But anyway, Poppy also relates more to the realm of intoxication, right? Because poppy flowers, like we've derived a lot of drugs, a lot of painkillers from the flower poppy, right? And it does relate a little bit more to that. Like getting lost in intoxication can be really easy, or you can have enough wisdom and self-discipline, Saturn Pisces, to traverse intoxicated states or even the subconscious or the realms to go and discover the truth you need to discover. So it's interesting because to me, this also says confronting your addictions, confronting your inner demons, confronting your shadow, your darkness, distortion, etc. But it also to me says traversing those realms carefully to really get to the truth. Don't get lost in this though. Some of you may, how do I want to say this? Because this card even warns of that. Like, yes, traverse this part of you to get to the truth that's very healing for you, but don't get lost there. Don't get stuck there. Like, don't stay in isolation. Take space to go within, but don't get stuck in isolation. go into face your trauma, but don't go down the rabbit hole of staying stuck in your trauma state or in a cycle of suffering, right? Like that's kind of what I'm getting here. Like, yes, traverse the realms, but be careful. Traverse yourself and subconscious, but stay like don't allow yourself to just fall down the rabbit hole with this, right? And especially if any of you have addictions, this is saying it's time to confront them. It's time to get real about it. I mentioned this way earlier in the year too, when we still had Jupiter sextile Saturn, and after those aspects passed and we were moving into spring equinox, I was told that about Saturn too this year, with Saturn being in a Pisces and squaring Jupiter. If any of you have not dealt with your addictions, that this year you can deal with it, but it's going to take a lot of isolation and a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work than it would be otherwise, but it's possible. But I do believe I mentioned that in a video before the spring equinox. Like, it was just made really clear to me that Jupiter in Gemini square Saturn Pisces, when Saturn Pisces is already trying to help us with this shit, if we haven't dealt with our addictions, it's like, it's the difference of, I'm going to go cold turkey. I'm going to go do this instead. I'm going to go for walks instead. I'm going to go work out instead. I'm going to eat better instead. And I can do it on my own. I can do it at home versus I need to go to a support group versus I think I actually need to go to rehab, right? It's that distinction. Not saying it has to be that way, but it was made clear to me that that is very likely to happen with Jupiter square Saturn. Okay. Oh, interesting. And we have cannabis on the bottom. This one is also Neptune Saturn as well. So that's really interesting. This is also Neptune Saturn, and that one speaks to detachment and numbing as well. Can I get one more for the collective at this time? Also with this energy, don't fly too close to the sun. It's kind of that same message, but it's like in a little bit of a different context. Like spiritual psychosis is what I'm speaking to. Don't fly too close to the sun. Also why it's important to stay grounded. Oh, wow. Whoo, whoo, whoo. I always have trouble pronouncing this one. Darko? Metamorphosis, literally metamorphosis with more Pluto energy with the moon. And Jurgen Sancha, transfiguration, Mars and Pluto. That's basically the Tower card here, and it came out with metamorphosis. Like I said, Pluto be strong. Pluto be very strong this week. You can either dive in and face your shit or not. And also when it comes to meeting certain people, that's going to challenge you, okay? That's going to challenge you to be open to new ways, open to new people. Oh, hey, cousin. Hey. DC Ventures, he's my cousin. Everyone say hi. Totally distracted me. Where was I? Oh yeah, Pluto. Like I said, lots of Pluto energy this week. Pluto obviously helps us to transform and metamorphosize. But in terms of partnerships, as people come in to cultivate with you, they will challenge you to push you out of your comfort zone to rise to the occasion to do that. And also for anybody who is struggling with the purpose versus power, going with purpose will also lead to transformation that will give you that sense of empowerment in the first place that you're looking for. So it's really just speaking to that. Everyone's like, hey, cuz. So yeah, very crazy week. A really good week, though. A very good week. Very revealing week. Let's go ahead and pull a couple more cards here. I love that everyone's like, hi. Where are we going? Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's do animals. We haven't done animals in a bit. Let's do animals. Yeah. Yeah, that feels good. Yeah, thank you. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Thank you. Thank you for the reminder, Erica. All right. So using the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, which is linked below. Man, it's crazy because it's like I feel like I've been getting Scorpio a lot, just like, you know, just in my awareness. This is super scorpionic. Pluto and Mars are just all over the board right now. My crown is tingling with everything you're saying. Yeah. Saying Scorpion, Eagle, and Phoenix. That'd be funny if they come out. I did see the eagle like peek a little bit. Do one more. Okay. June 24th to the 30th. The shark. I'm not surprised that that's come out, especially with everything I already talked to you guys about, with people being very easily aggravated and triggered and feeling very threatened right now if they haven't worked on their shit, right? Coinciding with cat's claw. Shark, for those of you guys who are not aware, shark for me as a reader comes out when we are perceiving a threat, whether it's real or not. It's this feeling of being encirculated. I don't think that's a word. Like, you know how a shark will, like, right, circle its prey, keep its eye on its prey. It's that kind of energy, whether it's happening or not. So again, is it your own fear? Is it your own projections? Is it your own unhealed wounds, your inner demons, etc.? Or is there really a threat that you need to deal with? Now, of course, if people are lashing out, they're going to be like a real shark to you. Encompassed, thank you. It's like encircled, I don't think is the right word. Encompassed. I like that. I like that word for that. So just be aware of your own energy of the shark, or if someone is in this energy with you, right? That's also another indication, like I was getting with the cat's claw. It feels like this very precise, like observing people and observing what they want to do or how they're going to respond or lash out. So if you guys are taking on that side of precision, right, and observing others, and you're recognizing they're getting in shark energy, probably time to create some space. Just saying, probably time to create some space. All right. But I can feel, even with the shark and the cat's claw, both of them are about this precision and this discernment, almost being able to traverse, again, your own void, your own darkness, and being able to sniff out the truth, right? And then do the work you got to do the transmuting you got to do, or pluck out the truth in the way you need to. Okay. They keep bringing up addictions, guys, or bad habits. If you've been in denial, I don't think you can be in denial much more. If you've been in denial about your own addiction or bad habit, I don't think you can deny it much longer. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. The lamb. Well, if that is not a predator-prey situation, if that is not a predator-prey situation, I don't know what is. But remember, it's all based off perception, whether it's real or not. If someone is acting like a shark, like up in your face, being threatening, whatever, then you know the truth to be the truth. But if this is you and you're like feeling threatened, you're feeling put in a corner, maybe take some time to check yourself, right? Because it almost feels like the lamb is the symbol of innocence that's behind everything. Almost like the lamb is representing like that space of coming from truth and coming from authenticity and coming from the heart, right? It might make other people's inner demons come out, but it doesn't make it any less true if you're coming from the lamb, right? I'm totally waiting for this guy. Not sure if I am lamb or shark. Again, I think if you guys take enough time like on your own to go within, I think you would know where you're landing in this as far as dealing with other people. But also, this is speaking to your relationship with self and your relationship with your own unhealed stuff and your own shadow, right? Oh, hold on a second. I don't even know how to describe this. I don't know how to describe this. It feels like anger turned on the self. I don't know how else to describe this. Hang in there with me, guys. This could also come about in a way where you may realize how you attack yourself. I guess that could just be self-sabotage. Self-sabotage, attack yourself, almost like not even allowing your innocence to be, out of a state of fear, out of your own stuff. like I just have this feeling of like the shark going after the lamb, but all you on you, like you with yourself. Some of you may be having, some of you may have had or may have dreams like where, oh, it's like, this is weird. This is weird. Like where you're seeing yourself, like, like where you encounter yourself or you watch yourself. I don't know. I don't know what that's for. It's just coming out. Whoever that's for. All right, let's move on to metamorphosis. Oh, that's cool. Dolphin. Oh, we love that. Talk about a switch. I mean, just look at the difference between the shark and the dolphin. That is literally polarity. That is like night and day. Dolphin is healing energy. It is the energy of the healer. It's play, it's fun, it's sensual energy, it's inner child, it's freedom. It's freedom. I'm being drawn back to what I saw in the beginning of the video, the beginning of the reading. The woman unlocking the cage. The woman unlocking the cage, it's almost like unlocking the lamb. Letting the lamb come out. Like the lamb has actually been in the cage all along. I keep getting pulled back to the shark. So there's more layers to the shark here that I feel like it feels kind of Seven of Swords to me. Some of you may have to be a little sneaky with people in your life, and that's not like kind of like the woman like breaking the lamb out of jail, right? It's like she had to sneak those keys. Right? She had to sneak those keys. She had to sneak down there, let the lamb out and make sure nobody knew. Some of you do have to be aware of what you're telling people, how much you're investing in people, and it's almost like to not alert them that you're letting your lamb out of the cage. Some of you, this is about liberating yourself from certain relationships. There's no question there. And it is leading to freedom. Yeah, that kind of dream happens for me. Really? Okay. I trigger the hell out of my guy. I speak carefully and from the heart. Am I late? You are, but it's okay. You can always watch this after the fact. But yeah, interesting. Very interesting with that. Needless to say, if you guys are going to do the work, this is going to really cool places. Okay? This is going to really delicious places, really happy places if you're willing to do the work, and if you're willing to also be honest with yourself about your own behavior, your own unhealed stuff, and also the people you're dealing with. And people will show you who they are. People always show you who they are. You just got to pay attention. People always tell on themselves. It never ceases to amaze me. They always tell on themselves. It's all in the wording. It's all in their body language. People slip up. They can't help it. And you'll be able to discern the sharks from the dolphins. Because that's also what I'm getting here too. It's like, yes, becoming the dolphin and being that free, but there are other people who are just that free. There are other people doing that kind of work, right? You don't want to deal with the sharks. Sure will. And when they tell you who they are, believe them. I'm trying to think if we really need to do anything else. I mean, that feels very complete. Oh, you know what? Okay. I still love it. I still get so excited every time I'm going to use this deck. I keep meaning to link it below. I will soon. There's stuff going on. But Medicine Heart Oracle, this is a lot of Fairchild's newest deck, and it is just amazing. So we're going to close out with a card from that deck. And I'm still learning them because there's a lot. And it's very dense. Can I get a parting message for the collective, please? Calling in clarity, communication, getting shock repellent. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Phoenix. Appreciate. Yeah, it's like this lamb is, sorry, I gotta just keep harping on this. It's like this lamb is hidden in the darkness, or is hidden in some obscure place within the psyche. It's, or in the underworld, right? That's how it's feeling. Like the lamb needs to be recovered. Yeah, they said, yeah, the lamb is trying to be recovered here. More stormy storm. Okay. Ooh. Can I get a parting message, please, for the collective for this week? Ooh. I think we got 2. Ooh. God, the art. Ooh. Just like, oh. Marteto with 8. And Lou with 19. I'm gonna read both of these. Both of them had birds in their hair. I'm noticing. I don't know if you guys can see. Both of them got birds up in their hair. Just feel like that's about being very attuned to spirit as well. All right. So these cards have very long descriptions, but I'm only going to read the beginning passage for each of them since we have 2. When facing a choice, consider the responses available to you. What response would fill you with the spiritual power? If you cannot yet sense a constructive, spiritually aligned pathway, shift your attitude to enter a state of positive expectancy from which greater creative resources will become apparent to you. This feels like navigating animalistic responses to me as I'm reading that. There is a way through a current dilemma that will open your heart to joy, but first you may need to disengage from fear or doubt, our little inner monsters. Give yourself permission to determine what your own inner state of being shall be. Are you going to become the shark? Or are you going to be the cat and traverse and go and unlock the lamb, free the lamb, right? Right. We may not have control over some of the things that we encounter, but we can always control how we respond. Always. Including acknowledging why we want to respond a certain way. Lou. The soul journey is a spiritual long game. Though there will be spontaneous spurts of swift progress and rapid healing, recovering and rising through any difficulties, you are also building a long-lasting legacy of sacred beauty. You are soul-making. Value the process and value yourself enough to set boundaries with yourself and others. Such a precious undertaking requires patience for the process, tending, and time. Contentment in the quality of the journey helps sustain and inspire you for the considerable task of generating your most sacred legacy. Both of these, to me, just really speak to accountability and integrity and really having discipline with the self and taking responsibility for yourself is what this feels like to me. And then in turn, and taking responsibility for yourself, that also means putting boundaries in place where need be, getting out of situations where you need to get out of, getting away from people that are more like sharks, etc. But that's what I'm getting with these 2 coming out here. Sorry, I thought I heard something at my door. I'm also just trying to keep an eye on things because, like I said yesterday, water came in through my front door. But yeah. Beautiful queen rolling in with her divine gleam. All right, guys, so that's it. That is complete for the weekly. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Also, there will be some sign readings posted here on YouTube by the AM. I'm going to be making sure I upload them tonight. But yes, I think that's it as far as announcements go. Yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Oh, it's just the wind pushing on my door. And yeah, have a beautiful week, and I will see you guys soon, okay? Bye, guys. Take care.